listen, I didn't tell y'all the Zeus network is a class action investigation and a surviving Lemmy documentary waiting to happen. That we already know. You don't gotta tell me nothing. They don't need to have a whistleblower for me to know that exploitative practices are happening over at that network, because I could see it. It's so many different levels to the amount of illegal shit, corruption, manipulative, extortionist type behavior that's happening over at Zeus, and it's on its face and you can see it, right? From the beginning of the fact that Lemuel, I don't know why that man name is giving me all kind of struggles. Like my accent is trip right over that. I used to be like Lemuel, Lemuel, Plummer. All right, and teeth the network out from underneath King Batch, Daystorm, and Amanda, I believe that's she name. He teeth the network out from under them. He changed what it was originally supposed to be. Zeus Network was originally supposed to be a network they created to show content creators original work, right? Like them going from Vine and social media to making their own things. But let me take that and say, no. Why do that when we can exploit Black people? Like, we could just paint in the worst light. The entire network ain't nothing more but fight. That's it. Let me get Black people who's struggling and looking for any opportunity for camera time, money, XYZ, and let me put them in the worst situations possible and make them fight. Let me incentivize nothing but degenerate behavior. So we already know that. I can see that. I already tell y'all the fact alone that he having a baby for a gal who was on the network working for bodies, and his other gal before that also worked there. You don't gotta tell me that he's the young women who work for him and exploiting his position as the boss, his ability to give them money or more screen time or whatever have you in order to them. I know that. My common sense tell me that. I say that to say this newest revelation by Joseline Hernandez, jumping up on social media to talk about how Lemmy is an exploitative abuser and blah 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 blah. It's like, yeah, I know that. But more importantly than I know that, you knew that. You don't give a about any of that. You only care because he stopped your checks. And the gag is, she ain't even in the right on that situation. Let me zoom out for those who don't know. This video is sponsored by Brevo, aka a tool that I wish more creators and business owners actually knew about. If you're running any kind of brand or business, whether that's a YouTube channel, a small business, or literally anything where you need to talk to your audience, Brevo basically simplifies your entire marketing setup. You can manage email campaigns, SMS, even WhatsApp, and live chat all in one place instead of having to juggle like 5 different platforms. What I like is that it's not just about sending emails, it's about actually building relationships with your audience. Brevo lets you automate messages, personalize your communication, and track what's working so you're not just shouting into the void. You're being strategic. They even have tools built in to help you create campaigns faster and smarter so you can focus on the actual content or business you're trying to grow. So if you've been looking for a way to level up how you connect with your audience and actually turn that into growth, Brevo is a really solid place to start. You can use my link in the description to get 50% off their starter and standard plans for your first 3 months if you're a new user. You hear that? I said, my viewers get 50% off their starter and standard plans for 3 whole months. So click the link in my description to get started today. Thank you for sponsoring this video, Brevo. Now let's get back to it. If you are unfamiliar with the depths of burbitchery, let me give you a quick little schooling. Joseline Hernandez is of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta fame. She originally came to our televisions, I want to say it was 2000 and it feels like 9, but maybe it was 11. Who knows? A while ago, a long while ago. She came to our screens on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, where she was actually very much so being exploited by Stevie, otherwise known as Stevie, but Stevie Jordan, who was then in a relationship with Mimi Foss that he'd been in for more than a decade, had a baby with her, and was cheating and treating her like shit like he do every woman he with. So he was cheating on Mimi with a young Joseline. Let me just say this. This is a quick separate tangent, but I always want to say this. Go on YouTube right now, go to VH1 and go look up the relationship timeline between Joseline, Stevie, and Mimi. And when you watch that with your big grown eyes and you realize the magnitude to which Stevie was exploiting, not just the women overall, he was, but in particular how he was exploiting Joseline. Like, we was witnessing emotional and mental abuse on camera and we was just cackling. Every week we was tuning in to see Stevie take advantage advantage of a young girl he met in the strip club, promise her this big music career and do this and the next thing. Whole time, all he doing is using her as a side chick to the next woman, cheating on her, treating her bad, lying to her, having her for a poppy show, getting her pregnant, having her have an abortion, and still talking to her like a dog and all this and the next thing. And every time she open up her mouth, that's what he say, I'll put you back in the strip club. Like, Joseline used to be on there crying, screaming, talking about how you'll never send me back, and clearly operating from a position of trauma in every different way. Like, I say all that to say, Stevie was an abuser. If there's ever a debate between who was worse, between Stevie and Peter Guns, the answer is Stevie. And I need you to know this as a gal who have a PhD in Mimi, Stevie, and Joseline, and Peter, Amina, and Tara. Or while they're both lying, cheating pieces of shit who don't give a about nobody but themselves, Stevie worse in a million different ways. The reason why, if you always wonder why he was with Tara for a million years and he'd just get with Amina and he never even seemed to rate Amina half as much as he rated Tara. Mind you, let me be clear about what I'm saying. I'm not saying, oh, like he loved Tara and he didn't love Amina. I don't believe that any man who operates like that and treats women like that love either one of the women. But if we talk about who he rate more, who mattered more to him, obviously Tara. If you was ever wondering why he was with Tara for all them years, 13 years or whatever, and then he just pitch up and marry Amina for whatever reason, the whole time he don't never appear to be a Amina run like that, it's because Amina, I believe it was to get Amina papers straight, because Amina is originally from Germany. Lord, we get into so much law and I get distracted, but quick facts. Amina was originally a part of a group called Black Butterfly with her twin sister and her other sister, but when the other two sisters gone back to Germany and gone and, get married and have babies, she stayed and she ended up with Stevie. And I believe that in the course of their little working relationship and being able to keep her there, he married her so she could get her papers so she could get straight. But they ain't gonna say that on the show. But I say that to say, while Peter will marry Amina to get her papers straight, Stevie holding Joseline contract over her like a weapon. All he doing is telling her to send her back to the strip club. He done never do it. Joseline ain't never get Stevie to do no paperwork for her. Think about that. Joseline begged Stevie for 1,052 years to marry her, and he ain't never do it. The most he do is agree to pretending like he do it. And I also want to say, for the boys have some negative to say about Yandy. I'm a Yandy apologist over here. That's a conversation for another day. But everybody has so much to say about Yandy being smart enough not to go legally marry Mendices when that man have all kind of legal and financial troubles. But there ain't nobody had all that smoke for Stevie and Joseline walking around with their fake marriage. Anyways, I've gotten off topic. My point is, we know Joseline originally from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Joseline was on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta for many years, also carrying on bad, till eventually Joseline come to the conclusion she was too big for the program. And I'm not going to comment on whether or not she was or wasn't too big for the program. Like, I'm sure that them people was doing something to her behind the scenes and being exploited for years on end and not getting paid that good in XYZ is enough to make anybody mad and carry on screen. But what we was seeing on Joseline's final time on Love and Hip Hop was her carrying the on. I mean, some of the highlights of Joseline, my favorite is, I want to say, I think it's the season 3 reunion where she is obviously coked out of her mind and her and Stevie go and beat the dog shit. Joseline was beating the dog shit off everybody off the stage. I mean, whops for everybody. She slap up Mimi. She slap up Tommy. She slap up Benzino. She slap up Benzino bitch. What she was named? Athea, or somebody. She smack up. That's all I know. Then there was another reunion where she was being like vocally stinking towards, her name is Nina Parker, who is a Love and Hip Hop reunion host. She was being dead stink to her. Then the next thing you know, the last time we ever see was Joseline basically saying, them, flipping off the camera. She done with it or whatever, and she end, and that was her time on Love and Hip Hop. Then the next thing you know, Joseline pop up on Zeus Network and with her own show called Joseline's Cabaret. And let me just be clear. I've never sat down and watched this entire show in its entirety, and I never would. There's levels to what I'll do, okay? Like But I have seen many a clip enough to know that any kind of, if you thought you saw Joseline being a coked out demon on Love and Hip Hop, she rolling in the coke like this on Zeus. I mean, and just degeneracy. And not also, it's just like the same fighting and this and the next thing, but it's also Joseline in a position of power to talk down to bitches.
Stop being a sucker. Every time your mother throw the ball, and then you get your friend involved in it, and she fights all your battles. You a
It's a bunch of young gals there being in this show looking for camera time, trying to like appease her, get picked or something. And she talking down to these bitches. She instigating fights. She threatening bitches. She fighting bitches. She doing all of the things. I say that to bring us to today. Joseline has now decided she done with, Joseline's Cabaret and Zeus Network. She want to start her own streaming network when it have in her contract that you wouldn't even have to but beyond the facts, let me just pause there. You should know in your good infinite sense and wisdom, realistically, your common sense should tell you that your contract could have a non-compete in it. Like, you can't think that you could work for a streaming network and think that you're gonna go and create a new streaming network and everything could be blessed. You can't think that. Like, that's a stupid thing to think. And the worst part is, it ain't even like she think that. I noticed a trend of recently where people think, not even real friendship, because I need y'all to understand that most of the people y'all think are friends because they work together and they exist in the same world are not friends. They're not friends. I need that to be understood, because the way people is think that, you would be so shocked the amount of people. I hear my name mixed up with all kind of people that I'm like, I either don't know, don't they don't like just because people think because that's who they watching or they think they friends or they see you together before, y'all as homies. No. Nothing to go so and nothing really go so. My point is, the fact that you think you and Lemmy cool, we think that or she think that or whatever it is, does not mean you could be able to just disregard the actual terms of the contract that you signed. And so because she violated the terms of the non-compete clause by creating this streaming service and Lemmy stop paying her checks, now she online like, oh, he's evil, he's an abuser, all this and the next thing, like, and I'm not saying he's not. You don't give a Joseline, and that don't have nothing to do with the price of tea in China. Like, I hate when babies name me on the wrong side. I've noticed when people know they don't have no legal case for real, they come to the internet. Like, they think if they disparage people on the internet and they get the internet to take their side, they're gonna like bully people into doing what they want legally when they don't have a leg to stand on. She's like, oh, he bid knew I started my streaming service, but he ain't do nothing until he see me take a picture with somebody that he don't like. Okay, if y'all have a contractual agreement, he pay you, you worked for his network, you did a show for him, and she's like, oh, it's illegal that he stopped her checks. It's illegal that he stopped her checks because her checks were supposed to be in perpetuity. First and foremost, if that was the case, she would have gone and pursued the legal route instead of running on social media. She know good and well, but unless you were supposed to get paid in perpetuity for Joseline's cabaret, unless you violate the other terms of the agreement. You violate the non-compete. So you violated the non-compete, and okay, he didn't immediately stop paying you your checks. You saying like, oh, he only stopped paying you your checks once he see you take a picture with somebody he don't like. And what's your point? He could have stopped paying you the checks at any point in time because you violated the terms of the agreement, and then he stopped paying the checks when you add insult to injury. Imagine you work for me. I pay you. I work for you. I evil, you evil too. We doing our evil exploitative shit together and we get into the bag. And I paying you. And I paying you more handsomely than you ever got paid in Love and Hip Hop. That is a known fact that Zeus paid these way more than Love and Hip Hop paid them. So I give you your show. I let you exploit bitches, get to the bag, do this, do the next thing. Now, after years to get into the bag, you decide that you're going to up and say, F my network. You're going to go build your own network, which is in violation of the terms of our agreement. But I don't immediately stop paying you. I say, you know what? Okay, everything blessed. And I keep giving you your money a little bit. Then on top of that, you done leave my organization. You done leave my business. You created a direct competitor. And now you want to take picture with I don't like, and you expect to get your money? Let me tell y'all something. One thing I learned from my daddy. One thing about my daddy. Ayo deli olaran waju learn could take care of you. Unless and until you piss him off. Let me tell you what you do not do with my pa. Tell him what you really think. If you can tell my daddy what you really think, but you're not gonna tell my daddy what you really think and get your rent money. Can't go both ways. There's a saying we have in the Bahamas that say, when your hand in the lion's den, you ease it out gently. When you know that you get a check from this man and a check you want to keep getting, and you know you already done violate the terms of the agreement that he could pull them checks if he want. What you don't do is then go and kick it with, don't go antagonize the you and kick the lion. Use the ass. When your hand in the lion's mouth, you gotta ease it out gently. You gotta, in other words, keep it cute. Y'all, it just be crazy the shit that people just be saying on the internet and they expect you to say so wrong. And I cannot stand when people try to like emotionally extort. Like Joseline on here on the internet doing all this theatrics like, oh, let me know I'm pregnant. Let me trying to kill my babies. Let me trying to kill my baby. Girl, what? Because let me trying to kill your baby because he stopped your checks. while you happen to be pregnant. Bitch, what?
I will let the world know how you being acting like a predator while I'm pregnant.
I believe Lemmy doing all of that. And I believe you knew Lemmy was doing all that, and you have not given a up and until you ain't getting your check. You ain't no whistleblower. You ain't telling us that because you some feminist icon, because you some champion of workers' rights, of women's rights, because you give a about any of them bitches. You saying something now because he do you something, and now you want the internet to be on your side to think he's the big bad guy, as though that can make it any more likely you get your money. Because my thing is, you obviously don't have no leverage, or you'd have gone to the law. So your only leverage, you think, is to say, oh, I could tell people all this negative stuff about you unless you give me the money. Well, you don't tell us, and what now? And it's like, and I want to be clear, Lemmy should be nailed to the cross if even a fraction of the shit that Joseline is saying is true, which I'm sure it is. Like I could say, we could see that Lemmy is sleeping with women in exchange for favor at Zeus. She accused Lemmy of everything she could under the sun. She said Lemmy is beat the gals. She said Lemmy is getting money not to go to the law on him. She say Lemmy is kill people. Listen. By the time Joseline was done, Lemmy is Freddy Krueger, okay? She say Lemmy do everything and then some. Listen, I likely believe her. You saying that about Lemmy don't make you right in this different situation. Lemmy could be horrible, but that does not mean that you were wrong. And that does not make you a victim. Lemmy, just because Lemmy's abusing all these other young girls who are in a position to be abused and taking advantage of them, does not mean you or Natalie Nunn, you bitches who's the madams, y'all taking full advantage of it. Y'all are the bitches getting the lion's share on the backs of exploiting these young guys. You don't give a Joseline is a bitch. I done seen Joseline talk to these bitches like dogs, beat on bitches, put them all in a situation. You saying Lemmy exploited it, Lemmy sleeping with the girls, he doing this and he doing that. And that didn't stop you from coming back season after season, still putting women in that position. Because you don't care so long as you get your check. All you care about now is that man miss and say, oh, he stopped your checks. If it wasn't for that, you wouldn't sing that in. So what then? She's like, oh, it is gonna be a surviving Lemmy. Yeah, they will. And you still will have violated the terms of your agreement. I need y'all to understand, babe. You cannot have it all. And I need people to let me tell you something. This desire to win social media brownie points is gonna kill babe. Like, you really could lose out and lose things thinking it means something to win favor with the internet. Even if the entire internet say, you right, Lemmy's so wrong. Lemmy owe you that. Lemmy should give you that money. Well, let me now give you the money. Is this the way that we should conduct business? Call your lawyer. That's what you should have do. But you didn't do that because you know you don't have a claim because you violate the terms of contract. I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to tell. The idea that she thought she was gonna create a direct competitor and still get paid, and she was trying to make it sound like he's so evil. She was like, she was like reading where Lemmy. She was saying Lemmy say he not gonna pay for her and her husband to start their own business. He not gonna pay for their network. Right. I could keep paying you as you sink that money into creating a direct competitor. And she tried to be like, oh, but when I did an interview and somebody asked me like what streaming networks am I competing with? And I didn't say nobody. I said nobody. I'm not competing with anybody. I even shouted out Zeus. Are we in La La Land? You think that that's how business works? You think if Walmart said they ain't competing with Target, that means they ain't competing? Do you think if Spotify said they ain't competing with Apple Music, that means they ain't competing? That's not how the marketplace works. It doesn't matter whether or not you say that Zeus Network is your competition. If you are a independent streaming network trying to highlight debauchery and what do you think? You're literally a pillar of his brand. He has a streaming network that's built on the backs of Natalie Nunn's debauchery and Joseline's debauchery. So you taking that to another streaming service that you done create, and then as she trying to get this money out of him, you doing all this crying like, oh, he's trying to kill you and your baby because you want the check. She's like, she begging for him to give the money while talking about what an evil, degenerate, horrible is, how you can go to hell and blah, blah, blah. And while also asking people to unsubscribe from the network, saying, oh, if you subscribe using my promo code, anything, unsubscribe. So now you making videos from the show to call. You want a man to honor the original terms of a contract you done violate. And you are also, in addition to creating a competitor service, you on your platforms, not only disparaging him and his business, but actively advocating to harm his business. Use ass. And I ain't saying that because I'm on Lemmy's side. I just telling you just the facts. That's the lawyer in me. I just can only tell you. So I see all that. I see Joseline doing that, and I was just like, who is all the circus for? Because Joseline is not a victim. Joseline is a victim of some people. She is a victim of some people, but as far as what she talking about with Zeus Network and Lemuel, she's a participant. It's the same thing as watching the America's Next Top Model documentary and all the judges and people who was participating in all this shit talking like it's only Tyra. It's you too. You think if I believe they need to investigate Lemmy, you don't think that I think they need to investigate Natalie Nunn and you too? Child, look here. Anyway, that's all I had to say to y'all about that. If you enjoyed the video you just watched, it's your lucky day because you just found it on one of 7 channels inside my Illuminati verse. Subscribe to Illuminati, my flagship channel, where you'll find my magnum opuses like If Pretty is a Privilege, Ugly is a Curse, How This Didn't Age Well Destroyed Media Literacy, How Men Become Aziz Ansari, and more. Subscribe to Illuminati Pop for my TV and film essays on shows like How I Met Your Mother, Sex and the City, Desperate Housewives, You, Euphoria, Insecure, and so many more. You can also join Illuminati Pop on Patreon to watch all of my YouTube videos uncensored. Subscribe to Illuminati Bites for short, serious, and nuanced commentary on whatever the internet is spiraling about. Subscribe to Olay and Chill if you're trying to laugh and chill while unpacking the latest TikTok chaos. Subscribe to Illuminati Politics for sharp breakdowns of the political moments shaping our lives right now. Subscribe to Illuminati Extras for music commentary and industry deep dives. Subscribe to Olay and Friends to watch your favorite Black thinkers and creators dissect the culture. Subscribe to any or all the channels in the Illuminati verse that speak to you, and I'll see you there. And you can also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky at Illuminati. And you can also follow Illuminati Pop and Olay and Chill on Instagram and TikTok so you never miss a thing.